As we track this line of storms, the tornado warning that we're watching right now, it's in the western part of Chatham County, northern Lee County, so Siler City included in this warning. And something to note is that this storm cell is going to be headed for Jordan Lake. And in the past, we have seen sometimes the rotation strengthening as these storms go over water. That's what we saw happen last year when we had that tornado touchdown in RTP. That tornado really came together over Jordan Lake. So we need to keep a close eye on that potential as well. At this point, meteorologist Mike Mays is tracking some of the new scans, but we've got severe thunderstorm warnings extending all the way from Orange County down into Hoke County. And I want to put a timeline on this. I know there's so many warnings, so I want to take those off for a moment and just give you a general time frame of when you can expect the storms to arrive where you are. Even if it's not rotating winds in a tornado, these straight line winds can be 70 miles per hour, so very dangerous. Pinehurst around 642, Southern Pines 647, Roxborough 652, Hillsborough 653, Carrboro and Chapel Hill just before 7 o'clock, right around 7 o'clock for Sanford, and it's going to be after 7 o'clock that those storms arrive for Durham as well as Raleigh, and we're going to be on air on our 7 o'clock news tracking those storms as they move in closer to 7 o'clock. I'm going to send it back to meteorologist Mike Mays in just a moment as he gets in some new radar scans. Just remember, when a warning is issued, that's the time you need to be taking action, Mike.
And that's what we have right now, Kat, over Chatham County. We have that tornado warning in effect till 7 o'clock. I've been watching new scans come in, looking for any tightening up of the rotation. Now that rotation is just south of Siler City. We are getting damage reports from Asheboro and Randolph County, which is just to the west of here. Tree down on a road, Old Lexington Road, if you're familiar with that area. Let's see, new report, tornado warning for Chatham and Lee. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Siler City, moving to the east at about 50 miles per hour. Let me stop this. I'll do a storm track. Moving to the east at about 50 miles per hour. You see the new polygon updated. Now it's not in Randolph County anymore. So if you happen to be watching from far eastern Randolph County, the tornado warning is over for your area. So moving to the east at about 50 miles per hour. And we'll do, let me broaden out the view. And so we're talking about being in the Bonnley community right now. Bear Creek at 6:40, Blacknell community at 7 p.m., Moncure 7:02, Haywood 7:03, Brickhaven 7:05, Mary Oak 7:06, the Corinth community at 7:07, Cokesbury 7:13, Holloman's Crossroads 7:13, and Duncan at 7:16. Now, not necessarily the storm making its way toward Duncan and Holloman's Crossroads, or at least the tornado warning continuing through there, but the storm itself should be in your vicinity by that point. So we just want you to be aware of the estimated time of arrival in your community. So let's zoom in a little bit closer over to western Chatham County and take a look at where the couplet or the greatest rotation. It is very broad, showing up here in this location. So let's zoom in and see. So along Highway 421 and maybe a little better spot right here just south of Siler City, near Mount Vernon Springs, just north of Bonnley, between Bonnley and Siler City, is right along Highway 421. Very busy state highway there, U.S. highway I should say, State Road 2114. That's where the rotation is located right now, eventually making its way just south of Pittsboro. It is not a tight couplet, not a tight rotation like we saw back last month over Nash County, but it is a rotation signature showing up on radar nonetheless, enough for the National Weather Service to issue a tornado warning for this. That again is until about 7 o'clock this evening. Let's switch over to the radar view, and you can see just a little bit of a notch there showing up. Right where the rotation is, so a little bit of what we call an inflow notch. So perhaps a little bit of strengthening. We'll watch to see if that trend continues. We'll take a look inside and see if we're seeing any hail, and just small hail showing up over toward parts of Randolph County. This is not a later scan. This it says 6:40, but I would suspect that hail would be over western Chatham County by this point. But you can see there is some small hail and lightning strikes in this area. We're seeing 80 strikes within the last 20 minutes or so, 5 positive strikes, 75 negative strikes, as the storm continues to move to the east at about 50 miles per hour. So let's do a reset and go back out to the wide view. And this is what's going on. We have that line of severe thunderstorms, the severe thunderstorm warning in effect for parts of Orange County, Alamance County, all the way south to Richmond and Scotland counties. Those are till about 7:15, and that line, as Kat showed you, rapidly moving to the east between 50 and 55 miles per hour. So we have a new damage report coming in from Montgomery County, which is just to the west of Moore County. Many trees reported down across Montgomery County, and getting a report of a wind gust of 45 miles per hour at the ASOS station at Greenville, or I should say Greensboro Airport, the Piedmont Triad International Airport, and also in the Ula community, a wind gust of 48 miles per hour. That's over in Randolph County. So we are seeing strong winds, reports of wind damage, and fearful that we're going to see this kind of wind damage as we get into the evening hours across our part of North Carolina, especially now that the line of storms is making its way into Moore County. Let's zoom in a little bit there. Southern Pines, seeing the thunderstorms moving in. Carthage, you have some thunderstorms as well. Now, a lot of folks on social media lately have been saying, Mike, we really could use the rain, and I'm happy to see the rain. Unfortunately, it is coming along with the risk for severe weather, the risk that trees could come down, risk that power lines could come down as well. There's a look at the Pinehurst Resort Cam, and you can see the dark clouds. The rain is on their doorstep. It's already raining in Southern Pines and eventually making its way toward Pinehurst. Now, our WRL storm tracker is out and about in Chapel Hill, and Aaron Thomas is in that, watching the rain in that area. So far, no severe weather. The severe weather is off to the west over into Orange County, and that will soon be making its way toward Chapel Hill. In fact, let me do a little bit of a storm track. And from this here, wrong button, this here, moving to the east at about 50 miles per hour, showing an arrival time. Let me turn that off. Arrival time over toward Saxapahaw at 6:45, the Oaks community at 6:50, and also getting over to the Tier community at 6:51, Whitecross at 6:54, making its way toward Chapel Hill after 7 o'clock. So if you're watching from Carrboro, Chapel Hill, Hillsboro, these storms will be in your neighborhood just after about 7 o'clock. So here we are about 6:42, and this tornado warning expires at about 7 o'clock tonight. We are continuing to watch this line of severe thunderstorms making its way closer and closer to the Triangle area. We do anticipate very heavy rainfall, gusty winds, cloud to ground lightning strikes, and the potential for an isolated brief weak tornado. And right now, the only tornadic potential we're seeing is located here over western Chatham County. Now, the new scans have come in, still broad rotation showing up right over here between Goldston and Siler City. That continues to make its way to the east and east-southeast at about 50 miles per hour. So this broad rotation will be passing, the way it looks right now, south of Pittsboro, eventually into northern Lee County and perhaps the southern tip of Jordan Lake. As of right now, we don't have a ground truth, but there is evidence on the radar there is possible circulation enough for a tornado warning to be issued. Now, this line of thunderstorms has created a lot of damage just to our west with trees and power lines down. Kat is standing by with a look at the current power outages. And unfortunately, Kat, that's probably coming our way.
Right. I think this is going to be one of the most widespread threats that we face tonight. We're going to watch out for those quick spin ups in the tornado warnings, but a lot more people are going to see straight line wind damage than a tornado today. So I want to focus in on this just to stress, all these counties where you have the yellow showing up, that's more than 10,000 power outages. So I really encourage you, charge anything that you need to have charged, like your mobile phone. Make sure that you have a way to receive your warnings on your cell phone as well. Just be prepared. You may lose power tonight in some of the areas that are hit the hardest. Zeroing in on just the tornado warning at this point, as Mike Mays was telling you about, Siler City, the worst of this storm, at least in the central part of the city there. Now just outside of the warning, just to let you know, because they are working on trimming this back a bit. And we're going to continue to watch this storm as it pushes off to the south and east. I want to remind you what to do in a tornado warning. Tornado safety, the best place you can go is a basement if you have one. I know basements are hard to come by in many parts of our viewing area. So if you don't have a basement that you can go into, you're going to want to head to the innermost room in your home. Typically that is a bathroom or a laundry room or a closet. Just make sure it's a room that doesn't have any windows. You want to go in the center of your house. So if you're choosing between a bathroom and maybe a closet like this, go for the one that's close to the center and put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. The good news is, as Mike Mays was saying earlier, we're not seeing very strong rotation. We haven't seen evidence that anything has actually touched down at this point, but we want you to be on alert because we do have a little notch forming in that area. So it's something that we need to continue to monitor, and we wanted to give you as early of a heads up as possible. And you can see there in Pinehurst, the rain really coming down, heavy rain out there. If you can stay in tonight, maybe do dinner at home, I think you're going to be better off that way, because this is a menacing line of storms that we are tracking that's moving into the triangle over the next hour or two. So if we take a look at the storm timeline, Chapel Hill right around 7 o'clock, 15-20 minutes from now. Apex 7:20, Cary 7:23, and in Cumberland County just after 7:30 this evening. If you're curious and you live in Fayetteville, this is currently the strongest portion of the storm. The storms aren't as strong in our northern counties at this point. We'll let you know if that changes, and we're closely monitoring all the new radar scans that come in. We get a new one in every couple of minutes. Meteorologist Mike Mays has more on the newest information.
We're watching severe thunderstorms up and down the East Coast, Kat. I just wanted to show the wide view of all the yellow polygons, the severe thunderstorm warnings from Georgia through South Carolina. Here in North Carolina, points northward. Just south of the D.C. area, you see that red polygon showing up. Tornado warning there just to the south of Washington. Up toward Philadelphia, it looks like there's a tornado warning there too. They're in tornado watches. We have a severe thunderstorm watch. Person County is in a tornado watch until 9 o'clock. We have our severe thunderstorm watch till about midnight tonight, but I think the severe threat will be over long before then. So let me take a look at what's happening with this tornado warning, and then we're going to toss to Brett Neese, who's in the live center, because he's got a report of airport delays. And the couplet may be trying to tighten up just a little bit. The greens are looking a little bit brighter, which would indicate stronger winds. So let's take a look at some of the winds and do a sampling. Just north of Goldston, the wind's up to about 36 miles per hour, so the wind's just a little bit stronger there. And so there's a little bit stronger shear, getting near 60 miles per hour. Again, the green denoting the raindrops moving toward the radar, which is near Clayton and Johnston County, and the red or raindrops moving away. So we look for these change of wind direction really close together for where the rotation would be. And as of right now, that's where the rotation is showing up. Now, it's an unconfirmed tornado. It's a radar reported tornado. We're going to watch this because it could intensify, tighten up. The rotation could tighten up when it gets closer to the far eastern part of Chatham County. And it is showing signs of perhaps tightening up just a little bit. I will watch this. We're going to go to Brett Neese, who's looking at airport delays. And what a mess across the East Coast, Brett, with all these storms impacting major cities as well. Yeah,
Mike, a number of airports are on ground stop right now because of the system that's moving through. But first, I want to tell you about these damage reports from Iredell County. This is a report that's coming in. You can see this massive tree that is around this roadway, and it's just completely covering this roadway. This tree has taken out some power lines on this street there, and you can see the police officer that's blocked off that roadway. There is another tree that has broken because of these storms. I also have some video that I want to get to here to show you some more damage reports from the Mooresville area. That's just north of Charlotte. This is showing you how powerful this storm really is and what is coming our direction. You can see how much rain is there on that windshield on that car there. And we're going to actually get to some video to show you some of the flooding that is happening because of how much rainfall is in this storm. You can see all those windshield wipers going as fast as they can. Back here in the WRAL Live Center, we are looking at FlightAware and those numbers that are coming in. 92 cancellations from the Charlotte airport so far, and over 40 in Raleigh so far, 44 cancellations. So far, though, Raleigh has not seen the ground stop yet. We're going to actually refresh this page here just to double check. We have Atlanta is in a delay. Charlotte still on a ground stop till at least 7:15, and Baltimore and a number of other high-profile airports like JFK, Philadelphia, LaGuardia, all under ground stop because of the storms that are moving up and down the East Coast. I want to go back to that the outage reports as well. This is the Duke Energy map on the outages because I want to show you the numbers here. You can actually see where that storm is moving across North Carolina. 48,000 outages in the Charlotte area, 33,000 in Iredell County, and these numbers are growing as that storm moves across North Carolina. I also have some live cameras out on the roadways as well. We're going to take a look at this. This is one of our cameras there. It's actually become so hazy because of the rain that is falling in that area. Here's I-40 at US 15501. Not in that area quite yet, but I do want to show you this map as well. This is our current road condition map. This shows you all the green. That's where the roadways are wet. This also mirrors that radar that Mike and Kat have been showing you. As this moves across into our area, we're going to continue to follow any damage reports that come here into the WRL Live Center. Pass those along, Mike.
And Brett, there are likely to be a whole lot more because the way these thunderstorms are, we're seeing typically when we see a severe thunderstorm warning, it's a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust is the main threat. Out of this entire line here, the yellow polygons that stretch from Orange County, Alamance County, all the way down now south into Robeson County, these have the potential to produce winds up to 70 miles per hour. So these are very strong storms, especially for the month of August. We tend not to see this strong of system. It's an unusually strong jet stream for this time of year that's triggering the storms from Georgia all the way up to the northeast. It's a widespread area of severe weather, and we have that threat here. And here in the Raleigh area, we're likely to see a ground stop at some point in RDU, probably airport delays out of RDU as well, at least for planes trying to get into the airport as well. Right now, we're seeing the most significant lightning strikes over parts of Alamance County, western Chatham County. We had an update with the polygon here for the tornado warning that continues till about 7 o'clock. So let me zoom back in and take a look at what's happening within that cell. And it's a smaller area of concern right now over parts of Lee and also Chatham counties. And notice the polygon does not make its way toward the Wake County line. It stops well before then. And so this is just primarily for Chatham County and the small sliver of northern Lee County where you see US 1 showing up there. So let's take a look at the velocities. And yeah, still a little bit of a couplet showing up. And it is showing up right about here, south of Pittsburgh, just a little bit. It's not tight. It's not strong and overbearing, not strong like the one we saw back in July over Nash County. Continues not to show that kind of signature, but it is a little bit of rotation nonetheless. These raindrops are moving toward the radar site, which is located near Clayton. These are moving away. So it's broad rotation that's setting up. And probably you'll see rotating cloud base if you're out, which we don't want you to be. We want you to be in your safe spot as that storm moves on by. If you're watching from Goldston, Siler City, Bear Creek, and points west, you're okay to come out of your safe spot. If you're watching from Pittsburgh, it's the southern part of the city that's in the tornado warning. Goldston, you're okay. It's within this polygon. Let me zoom in so we can see some individual communities that we need to watch closely. It's right along US Highway 501. It's the Blacknell community. Let me zoom in a little bit more to see if anything else shows up. State Road 2155, the Woolly Dam Road area, Center Grove Church Road. This is the area that's in the tornado warning. Pete Robertson Road. Let's pan up to the north, and we're not seeing other smaller communities. So it's just a small portion of Chatham County right now that is a tornado warning. And again, the greatest rotation showing up on the radar as per the latest scan. It's Mays Chapel Road, Taylor's Chapel Road, State Road 2188. That's the greatest rotation area. And once this moves on by, you folks will be able to come out of your safe spot. Just stay indoors until this does pass. Now, Gerald and Deb are standing by. This is going to be a very busy evening. We're just seeing the beginning of this right now, guys, and we're probably going to see a lot of trees down once this line of storms moves through.
Well, we can also guarantee power outages as we look at what it's done to our west already. I'm talking about 158,000 outages according to Duke Energy. And again, that's to the west. As the storm gets closer to us here, that number is going to go up tremendously because you talk about the population centers that we have.
Yeah, right now over a very rural area, but it is heading our way toward the triangle. Let's show you some of the live pictures that we're following on the WRL Live Cam network. This is Pinehurst. We saw just minutes ago people were out here on the golf course. They were doing a little playing before the sun goes down, and this is what it looks like now, just lots of rain.
Yeah, and that golf course really drains well, so it tells you how hard it's been raining to have all that water sitting on top of that surface. This is Southern Pines, not too far away. You don't see in this camera shot as much standing water as we saw in Pinehurst. But we want to run through a couple more cameras for you.
Yeah, this is a very long line of storms across several counties. This is Orange County, Chapel Hill, where you can see some of the lightning that we just saw flash, as well as those dark clouds. And now let's go to DBAP in Durham. We are also seeing some of those dark clouds, but it doesn't appear to be raining there yet. Mike, let's go back to you. We're talking about 160,000 people without power right now. And when the sun goes down, as it looks pretty dark over downtown Raleigh right now, do you think that that's going to lessen the intensity of the storms at all?
It possibly could, but then you see these storms making their way into the eastern part of the viewing area that got into the mid-90s today. There's a lot of what we call storm fuel. The dew points jumped up into the low to mid 70s this afternoon, so it's very humid out there. So we're going to watch to see if the losing the heat of the day will impact these storms, although the atmosphere may become a little bit more ripe down east toward the eastern viewing area with the higher dew points to help perhaps energize this. Plus, we still have that strong jet stream aloft, so we'll see how it counteracts each other. But I wanted to do a storm track over parts of Orange County right now, northern Chatham County. It's in the White Cross community right now. Orange Grove at 6:56, Bynum arrival time 6:57, Farrington Village, which is just north of Jordan Lake there, 7 o'clock arrival time. Griffin's Crossroads 7:01, Farrington 7:02, Carborough 7:02, Chapel Hill 7:04, the Seaforth community at 7:05. We got a new update, Bell's community at 7:06, Farrington at 7:06, and so that's when you can expect the strong winds, the lightning, the very heavy rainfall. It is on your doorstep and it's moving in and will be there quickly. Let me pan a little bit farther south. We'll do another storm track following this line. And again, this line has the potential to produce wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour. So there is a high likelihood that this will produce wind damage, possibility of power outages as well. So just hunker down, get prepared to possibility of losing power. Sunset Terrace right now, Northview, Pittsburgh, it's in your community now. Sanford right now, you're seeing some rainfall. Bynum at 6:58, the Cologne community at 6:58, Meadow Park 6:59, Sandley Park 7 o'clock, Blacknell community at 7 o'clock as well. And then farther south, we're seeing the rain moving through Lee County. It's Tramway at Sanford. I have a viewer watching from the Tramway community saying, Mike, all these storms seem to be missing me. I'm just drying up here. Happy to say you're seeing some rain in your community. Unfortunately, it does come with the potential for damaging wind gusts, and there's the leading edge of the line moving through southern Lee County. As you saw Gerald and Deb showing the cameras over Southern Pines and Pinehurst, the rain's coming down heavily there. And we'll do a storm track. Pine Hill right now, Ashmont right now, Lobelia right now, Olivia at 6:59, the McCain community at 7 o'clock, McFarland at 7:01, Pineview at 7:02, Montrose at 7:03.
When it comes to uncovering stories that matter, the difference is unmistakable.
The most critical damage happened next.
Only WRAL Investigates has the persistence.
I went through more than 350 pages of emails
to uncover the truth.
How worried should we be about the security of our power grid?
I filed a records request, and that is when all of this information started to come to light.
That's the difference with WRAL Investigates.
Severe threat perhaps being to the south. Now, before we start our 7 o'clock newscast and I toss to Ashley and Dan, I want to take one last peek at what's going on with our tornado warning. And the couplet has not really evolved all that much. They have just expired the tornado warning for Chatham and Lee County. That just came in on our chat room here. So this red polygon will disappear just shortly. All we're left with now are severe thunderstorm warnings that will last till about 7:15. But I believe any moment we'll get new severe thunderstorm warnings for Durham County, Wake County, Harnett County, Cumberland County as the storm continues to make its way to the east up to about 50 miles per hour or so. We're getting word that the tornado watch has been canceled for Davidson, Forsyth, Guilford, and Randolph counties outside of our viewing area, but continues the tornado watch for Alamance and Person County. That's until 9 o'clock, although we look at Person County, and I think you guys, as of right now, are in the clear. The threat right now stretches now into Orange County, Chatham County, Lee County, also Moore County, and that will continue and even grow as we make our way into the next couple of hours. Dan and Ashley, it's going to be active weather. We've seen so many reports of wind damage off to our west. The warnings that we have in place right now are 70-mile-per-hour wind gust potential, so we're going to see some damage around here, trees down, perhaps even power lines down within the next couple of hours.
From the WRAL Severe Weather Center, North Carolina's most experienced team of meteorologists.
Right now at 7, we are continuing to follow a severe weather threat moving into the Triangle. Storms have arrived with winds up to 70 miles per hour. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ashley Rowe.
And I'm Dan Haggerty. We have a team across the area, of course, covering all of this from the WRAL Live Center to the Storm Tracker, our very own Monica Casey tracking the latest developments and impacts from the storm out on the road there. But first, we want to get right to meteorologist Kat Campbell in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with the latest as this moves in, Kat.
And we're going to continue to monitor this storm cell that had the tornado warning on it very closely. This is going to pop off the screen here in a second. The National Weather Service is going to to let the tornado warning expire. However, they have issued a new severe thunderstorm warning that extends farther to the east, now including Fayetteville as well as pretty much all of Harnett County. That is until 8 o'clock. And within that severe thunderstorm warning, they've added a tornado possible tag. It means you can't rule out a quick spin up within this line. So that's something we'll be monitoring very closely. You can see it is a very active evening. All of these yellow boxes are severe thunderstorm warnings within this line of storms moving across our area. 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts are possible within these storms. Typically, when a severe thunderstorm warning is issued, you have the threat of 60-mile-per-hour winds. So this is a stronger severe thunderstorm warning than we would typically see. The worst of the storms about to move into Chapel Hill right now. The worst of the storms about to pass over Jordan Lake, Sanford, and moving into Hoke County at this point. So we haven't seen the storms arrive in Durham and Raleigh just yet, or at least the worst of the storms arrive in Durham. But we're going to continue to track these storms as they push east. Hillsborough being impacted right now. Chapel Hill, of course, you can see on the screen being impacted as we speak. Around 7:03 is when the core of that storm should hit. And you can actually see the core of that thunderstorm in the Chapel Hill live camera. Durham, you're about 10 minutes away from the worst of the storm arriving, 10 to 15 minutes. Lillington about 15 minutes from now. And then Apex and Fuquay Arena just before 7:20 is when the storm should arrive where you are. I want to remind you that these storms have some very strong winds. All these bright greens, these are the strong winds that we're measuring, upwards of 50 to 60 miles per hour within the storms. And because of that, a severe thunderstorm watch is in effect until midnight, though the worst of the storms I think should be passing by the area shortly after 9. We are still likely to see some lingering showers and storms. We've had a lot of reports of damage. Brett Neese is standing by in the live center with a closer look at that. Brett.
Yeah, Kat, we're taking a look at a lot of damage reports and outages across the area. But first, we're going to start with those damage reports. This is a downed tree in Iredell County that's blocking an entire roadway. This is an incredible image that's coming in with multiple downed trees on this street, and it's taking down some of the wires there as well, with police blocking the road. And there's another picture of more storm damage. This storm also having an effect on all of the airports along the East Coast. Let's take a look at some of the cancellations that are in the area. 44 cancellations at RDU right now. There's nearly 100 out of Charlotte. So far, RDU is not on this list yet, but Charlotte is. They are under a ground stop until at least 7:15, and along with a number of other airports like JFK, LaGuardia, Philadelphia. And this is all because of this fast-moving system that's moving across our state and all up along the coast. And here's our Duke Energy map, up to 82,000 outages near the Charlotte area, 34,000 just up to the northwest of Charlotte. And this also mirrors that radar that Kat was just showing you. As the storm moves across North Carolina, we're starting to see more and more damage, knocking out power. As more reports come in here to the WRAL Live Center, we'll bring those to you.
Brett, thank you. Power outages will be a big part of this story coverage tonight that you'll get from us here. And as Kat was talking about the timing a bit ago, it looks like this is going to be with us for a while. Intense for the short time being, but upwards of after 9 o'clock with dangerous winds and hail.
WRAL's Monica Casey is live in downtown Durham with a look at conditions there. Monica, what are you seeing?
Well, Ashley, we're really not seeing the worst of it here yet. It only started raining here about 15 minutes ago. We've heard a couple cracks of thunder, seen just a little bit of lightning, but not much wind in this area right now. Where we are standing, this is usually a popular and busy area of Durham, especially this time of night. At the end of the sidewalk, the American Tobacco Trail starts, and usually there are tons of people. We've been in this area for a couple of hours, and we've slowly seen fewer and fewer people out, people walking their dogs quickly to make sure they can get back inside. And now this area is pretty much empty entirely. So again, not much wind just yet in this area. The rain is not quite pouring either, but we are standing by to show you what conditions will look like here in Durham as the time progresses. Back to you.
Okay, Monica, thank you very much for that update. You know, if you haven't yet downloaded the WRAL weather app, you're going to want to do that. Here's a live look from Chapel Hill. You see that there's quite a bit of rain coming down there. Still a lot of traffic on the roads there. Of course, this is a supper time storm. We want to get you over to some other images as well, and we will be bringing you them throughout the viewing area. Here is from Sanford, where I know there are quite a few power outages in Sanford. I'm looking at the Duke Energy map right now. It looks like there are 522 power power outages there right now with the storm blowing through. As I was mentioning, the WRAL weather app is something that you are going to want to download if you haven't already, because this storm is moving through with powerful winds. And if you're going to also want to, when you're on that app, use the interactive eye control radar within it. You can zoom in to see your neighborhood, check futurecast to see where the storms are headed next. Here is an image from Pinehurst, again, another area where there are quite a lot of power outages.
Meteorologist Kat Campbell is standing by. Kat, what are we seeing as we see this storm intensify in our viewing area?
We're just starting to get our first storm reports from our viewing area into the WRAL Severe Weather Center. So we're going to see these pop up on the map in just a moment. Siler City, Silk Hope, and Pittsboro all in Chatham County reporting trees down due to that severe storm that had a tornado warning on it that just passed through the area. And we have several reports of trees down to our west. In fact, there have been so many that many of the offices are reporting in emergency management are just saying we've got trees, power lines down countywide. I mean, not even able to give specific roads because there's so many. And we do have a new warning that just came into the area. Meteorologist Mike Mays is helping me out here and getting the warnings on the screen here. This is the new severe thunderstorm warning. This includes Durham, Raleigh, all of Wake County, Franklin County, as well as Durham County, the southern part of Granville County over into Johnston County. This is until 8 o'clock this evening. And Mike, what is the wind speeds that the National Weather Service put on this severe thunderstorm warning?
Second.
One moment here. We're working to pull that up. We've seen some
70-mile-per-hour winds moving east of 55.
All right, so 70-mile-per-hour winds. That's stronger, as I mentioned off the top of the newscast, than we typically see in a severe thunderstorm warning. Typically, a severe thunderstorm warning is 60, so that just goes to show these storms are exceptionally strong. I do expect some trees to come down. There's likely to be power outages, so if you can, now is the time. If you live around Raleigh, Durham, hunker down, stay inside for the evening, and just try to stay in as these powerful storms move closer. Ashley and Dan.
All right. We're hearing 165,000 total outages at this point. So we have seen this and watched this storm as it approached. We knew what it was bringing with it. So we had seen the trees falling. We know when that happens, it's going to hit power lines. So again, as Kat said, just hunker down and try to get through the night as this thing moves through.
Exactly. I'm monitoring the Duke Energy outage map right now. It actually has jumped to 174,000 customers without power, over 3,000 active outages. Earlier in the broadcast, about a half hour ago, Kat was talking about making sure that you have your, if you have candles or if you've got any of those battery packs where you can charge up your phone, because that is one way to stay on top of things, is to have a fully charged phone you can get on the WRAL weather app.
Okay, so we are going to move on to some other news at this point. But again, regardless of what happens during this newscast, if there's anything you need to know, of course, we're going to get right over to our meteorologists who are keeping an eye on everything as we continue to go about some of the news to tell you. To start with, that one person is dead, 4 others in the hospital. This after a car crash into a home in Sampson County this afternoon. Amazing video here. Take a look. This is from the breaking news tracker. It happened on Church Road at Warren Mill Road. Troopers say a woman pulled into the path of a pickup truck when crossing the road. Lynette Westbrook lives down the street and tells WRAL that the intersection on Church Road is dangerous due to the overgrowth blocking that view there.
The problem that we have right there at that crossroads is there is an overgrown bush there and you cannot see, and it's especially hard because you have to literally pull out onto Church Street to look both ways and then make your turn.
We're getting more from troopers too. They're saying the driver of the pickup, 75-year-old Eddie Swindell, died in this crash. We're still working to find out the conditions of the 4 people who were sent to the hospital.
Tonight, a Raleigh man is in jail after police say he severely beat his parents nearly to death. The parents have had a long history with their son. WRAL's Chelsea Donovan explains from the Wake County Justice Center.
29-year-old Christopher McCullough appeared in court today for charges of severely beating his parents and stealing their car. His parents had previously taken a domestic violence protection order out against him in October. From inside a jail cell, Christopher McCullough smiles and makes faces to a judge.
Everybody wants to hurt me or something. It's weird.
McCullough is charged with going to the home of his parents here on Ingate Way in the Harrington Grove subdivision unannounced and nearly beating his parents to death.
Once inside, he assaulted both of the victims until they were unconscious. This was in front of his minor child.
Warrants charge McCullough with inflicting serious bodily injury against his 69-year-old father, saying, quote, beating with his hands about the head and face